The content you're about to enjoy comes from the archives of The Best You. We're devoted to the very best in personal development, with a platform and resources dedicated to inspiring and changing people's lives. At The Best You, we work with the world's leading writers and trainers on the evolution of the self, and people whose journeys have been affected by their work and words. These Best You EXPO talks are recorded in front of a live audience in a live event. We highly recommend that you focus on the message. As they say, what you focus on expands. Enjoy. Marisa Peer. Named Britain's best therapist by Tatler magazine, Marisa Peer has spent nearly 3 decades treating a client list that includes international superstars, CEOs, royalty, and Olympic athletes. Marisa is also a best-selling author, motivational speaker, and pioneering hypnotherapist trainer. Her engaging talks are prepared with anecdotes from an unparalleled career, which she has helped thousands of people to overcome profound personal issues. With over 25 years' experience, Marisa is simply one of the best. She teaches simple steps that produce dramatic and life-changing results. She brings one-of-a-kind therapy room techniques to the Best You EXPO podium, and one of the courses that she shares is her acclaimed Mastermind Your Life, which is a series that focuses on the thought patterns and mental habits that can be detrimental or beneficial to our success, depending on how we use them. Marisa has appeared on television shows in the UK, America, Scandinavia, Africa, and throughout Europe, including Sky News, ITV, BBC News, Channel 4, you name it. Marisa is a phenomenal speaker. She has spoken all over the world. My work with Marisa I interviewed her many years ago, and she has spoken, as I said, all over the world. She is a phenomenal, inspiring lady that has, as I said, vast knowledge. And this talk in particular, it is about rapid transformational therapy. So in this talk, she is going to be sharing RTT and how this phenomenal technique has helped so many people, and how it also helps coaches and trainers to use this technique in their life to help other individuals themselves. So enjoy. Thank you so much.
And give her a huge, warm welcome to Marisa Peer.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Take a seat. So, are you all here today to learn about RTT? Put your hand up if that's what you want to know, what it is, what it can do for you, what you could do for it. Put your hand up if that's what you want to know. You want to know what RTT is, you want to know how you could use it. Okay, well that's good, because I like to give people what they want. So, I've been a therapist for amazingly 33 years, and I love being a therapist. There's no other job I would ever do. By the way, can you all hear me okay? Because I have a slight echo, but if it doesn't bother you, it won't bother me. You can all hear perfectly. Can you hear at the back? Fabulous. So I love being a therapist. There is no job like it. I wouldn't even be Beyonce, because I love my job, because every day I go to bed and I know that somewhere in the world someone's having a better life because of what I can do. And being a therapist, when you can do it really with amazing results, gives you meaning, gives you purpose. It just gives you such a sense of fulfillment. So being a therapist for 33 years, I began to realize as I went through my path of therapy that all my clients only have 3 problems. And you might think, well, that can't be the case. They must have hundreds. Well, they do. But I realized they only have 3. The first problem is, without question, they never think they're enough. So every drug addict I've worked with, every addict, from sex addicts to eBay addicts to cocaine addicts to chocolate addicts, really they don't think they're enough. And people who come in with a lack of confidence have the same problem. I just don't feel enough. So that's very easy to fix, for those of you in my talk yesterday. And when you fix that, you change people's lives. And people will say to me, I've been in therapy for 10 years discussing all my list of problems, but you came along And in 5 minutes you went, oh, no. We're not going to do addiction for a year and then depression for a year and then lack of confidence. We're going to treat the cause of your issues now, and you're going to leave here today a different person. And many of their therapists ring up and go, what did you do? I said, well, I tried what's really the cause. The common denominator of all of our emotional issues is that we don't think we're enough. If you treat that, you change people forever. So that's very easy. Sounds complicated. I promise you it isn't. Second thing that is wrong with people is that they have a belief. I want something, but it's not available to me. I want to be free of depression, but I've got the depression gene. My mum was depressed. My grandmother was sectioned. I've got the depression gene. I want to stop drinking, but I've got the alcoholic gene. I want to be a success, but no one in my family is successful. Nobody even went to college. And I want it, but it's not available. And I learned I could take that belief away in moments and show people everything's available. Nobody, when they're having a baby, says, well, should I have a pretty one or a smart one? Shall I have one that's got a lovely, happy personality or one that's intelligent? When you have a baby, you think, I want it to be beautiful and smart and intelligent and loved. And you really can have it all at the same time. When you smash out of your life this belief, nobody can have everything, or I don't deserve, but if I get more money, somebody else will have less money, or I shouldn't have all of this, and it's not right to have a great career and a great love life and lovely friends and a nice home. And we hear this belief, you can't have it all. I don't know who said that, but they were lying to you, because you can have it all at the same time. And we are kind of impregnated with these weird beliefs. Your school days are the best days of your life. Who said that? I mean, isn't that crazy? You start your life, it's all amazing. When you leave school, it all goes downhill, and it gets worse and worse. And that's not true. Life gets better every year. When I was training to be a therapist, my eminent teacher said to me, now, the mind is very, very complex indeed, and it takes a lifetime to understand the workings of human mind and a second lifetime to put it into practice. I'm thinking, well, how's that going to work then? So you got this great mind, and on your deathbed you go, oh, I've just cracked it. In my 90s, I now understand the workings of my mind, but I need to come back again and be reincarnated to put into practice. And that's not true. The mind is very, very simple. If you understand there's only 3 things wrong with you. I don't think I'm enough. I want something and I think it's not available. And here's the third. There's nothing else. Everyone in this room, there's only 3 things wrong with you and all the people in your life. And there used to be 3 things wrong with me, but I fixed them. And all the people in my life. And the third thing is I'm different. And because I'm different, I can't connect. And that's a huge problem, because we're all tribal people in very modern bodies. And only 500 years ago, you survived on the planet if you connected. You're like me, I'm like you, we were in the same tribe, we look the same. And safety was a numbers game. I belong to a tribe and I'm okay. And now we live in multicultural, diverse tribes. You go, oh, you're not like me, and I'm not like you. And if you have children, they'll come back and go, I've got a friend, and we both like green pasta, and we both like Barbie, and we both like Postman Pat. And they're like me, and I'm like them, and I'm happy because I found someone like me. And the basis of all friendships is we pick people who are like us. And if you think you're different, you can't connect. And the amount of clients I see every day come in and they pretend they're perfect, and they are always unhappy, and they're almost always alone, because perfect people, we can't connect to them. And I say to all my clients, look, let me tell you the truth. You think you're different? Guess what? It's the greatest fear in the world to be different. And if you have it, that means you're like everyone, and everyone's like you. So you're not different if you think you're different. Very simple, really, isn't it? If you think you're different, the very fact that you think you're different means you're not different. So I worked out these 3 things. People come in with a shopping list of problems, and I go, no, you don't have any of these problems. You only have one of these 3, maybe 2, maybe all 3, and we're going to fix them today in the room, and it's going to change your life. And it always does. And then I understood how the mind works. And that's very simple too. It doesn't take a lifetime. I can tell you how your mind works in 5 minutes, and I will right now. It does what it thinks you want it to do. When you say, my job is killing me, my clients make me want to die, if I have to go to work one more time and deal with that bitch from hell in accounts, I'd rather jump under a train. This paperwork is making me want to kill myself. Your mind goes, I'm you. This commute is killing me. Your mind's like, killing you? Going to this place you call to work is killing you? My job is to keep you alive. And if you say this boyfriend is killing you, your wife is driving you insane, your kids are making you want to tear out your hair, your boss is driving you mad, I'm going to stop you going to it. I'm going to shut your fertility right down. When people say, if I had another kid, I'd just die of sleep deprivation, the mind goes, well, I better sort that out because I can't let you die. So your mind's job is to keep you alive on the planet, and it works out what you don't like by listening to your dialogue, and then it says, no more boyfriends for you, no more girlfriends for you. Let's give you a lovely ulcer, chronic headaches. Now you can't go to that job that you keep saying is killing you. Let me give you unexplained infertility, because you said if I had another baby this year, I would just kill myself. And we say all this stupid stuff, but the mind doesn't understand. So your number one thing about your mind is it does what it thinks you want. And if you haven't got what you want, your mind thinks you don't even want that. And if you've got a lot of what you don't want, like procrastination and self-sabotage, your mind thinks, no, that's very useful. Because when you were growing up, you heard your dad say, it's killing me to go to work, or you never know who your friends are when you have money. And you thought, oh, I don't want to do that. Second thing about your mind is it only responds to the pictures in your head and the words you say to yourself. And the third thing is it likes what is familiar. That drives therapists up the wall. The fact that our clients love what is familiar. Yeah, I went out with a really nice guy and he called me, even sent me flowers. I don't want to see him again because he's too good for me. And what they're actually saying is his nice behavior was so unfamiliar, I didn't even recognize it. And I ran back to the guys that treat me badly, never call, have sex with my friends, because that's what my dad did. And I don't like it, but it's familiar. 70% of lottery winners go bankrupt in 3 years, because if you have not had money in your life and you get it, I promise you, you get rid of it. I've worked with rock stars that were making millions of dollars a year, and they're broke. What happened? I don't know. I mean, when I was a kid, we never had money. My dad got paid on Friday, and we were out of money by Thursday. When I had all that money, I bought a car, a business, another business. I paid for it, and I ran out of money. Oh, isn't that familiar? So the mind likes what's familiar. That is a hard-wired-in fact. But the good news is you can make anything familiar. Loving yourself, believing in yourself, attracting wealth, whatever you like. So the basis of RTT, a therapy that I created, I invented, and I'm immensely proud of. And last year it won 11 international awards, which is really cool because it's only just over 3 years old. But it won awards for the best pharmaceutical. It's not a pharmaceutical, but the effect it has on people who are depressed or anxious or have phobias is incredible. So the basis of RTT is how your mind works, what's wrong with you, the 4 ways we take to fit in a group, and I don't have time to tell you all of those today. But what RTT does, it's called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity means if you had a withered arm and you went to someone and they lifted your arm up thousands and thousands of times, you'd start to fire off neurons that could make that arm reactivate itself. But RTT also talks to the mind. It creates new neurons. If you imagine, you think a thought, and you make a little track in your mind that's like a little thread, and if you keep thinking the thought, it becomes a cable, then it becomes a superhighway, and then it's a fixed thought, and it can cause you a lot of damage. So RTT uses neuroplasticity to interrupt thinking and to actually code in new thoughts. You know, if you have a computer With a bug, it slows down. It's not very effective. But we have bugs. We have bugs in our mind that slow us down. So RTT uses neuroplasticity. It's a very big word. Doesn't really mean anything. It just means recoding, rewiring, and reinstalling new thoughts while completely smashing out of your mind all the negative ones. So you don't have to think, can I really do that? Is that okay? So RTT gets your mind to talk to your body. And instead of saying, oh, I can't do that, and that's not working, and I don't like it when people look at me, you feel amazing. It also interrupts the signals that the body sends back to the mind. So I worked with a client who had been abused in a hospital, so she said. It might have been true. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. If your client says, a doctor abused me in hospital, and they believe it, what they believe affects them. And so this girl would say things like, I can't cope. I can't cope with any medical programs on television. I can't cope with seeing a doctor in the street. I can't cope. And I realized that she had no coping skills. My mum couldn't even cope with a packet of crisps being over. My mum was sound sensitive, light sensitive, and she had all these sensitivities. And this girl had been sectioned because I think she lost the plot in the street when she saw a nurse and had a bit of a breakdown. And she was in this group therapy, and they all sat in a circle. And when it got to their turn, they'd say something like, I like butterflies. Today I saw a daffodil. And oh, no, that's just not good enough. That's too lame. When it's your turn, Penny, you're going to say, I have phenomenal coping skills. You were like, okay. So every time it got to her, she'd go, I have phenomenal coping skills. Next week, I have extraordinary coping skills. The next week, I have incredible coping skills. And the nurse said, wow, Penny, you are changing faster than everyone else. Can the whole ward say this? She went, I don't own the word. So the whole ward began to say it. And then they started to put up posters all around the ward. You have phenomenal coping skills. All the butterflies and bees posters came down, and up came these words. You have extraordinary, exceptional, phenomenal coping skills. And without knowing what they were doing, they were rewiring their mind, coding those words in. And that hospital had the fastest discharge rate for all their patients, and they still do it. And many other doctors now are coming to me and saying, we want to use this RTT. What is it? It's rapid transformational therapy. It's rapid because you interrupt the mind's thinking, and then you code in better thinking. It also does a lot of investigation. My therapists, and they are amazing, I always say we're like detectives and dentists. We go back as a detective and say, we have a look at something. Client comes in, you very, very quickly take them back to a scene, and they have information they never had before. Oh, that's why I do that. So you investigate like a detective, then you interrupt, and then you code in the new stuff, and like a dentist, you extract the old stuff. And when I was a therapist, the thing I loved the most was every day I'd wake up to a card, bunch of flowers, an email, a letter saying, you changed my life. Here's the baby I never thought I'd have. Here's the job. Here's the body. I have lost 60 pounds since I saw you. This is my wedding. This is my child that I was told I couldn't have because I'd been having IVF for 10 years. I saw you. I got pregnant like a 16-year-old on the first day. I don't know what you did. You do know what I did. I talked to your mind. I commanded it to see your egg as perfect, your sperm like the crack SAS sperm that swims straight, got together, implanted in your womb, and you made a perfect baby. And I used to love that. But now what is even more amazing is that I teach people. And my graduates, like Tina one day sent me a letter and said, I've just got a text from someone today who said, I woke up and I thought I must be dead because I've been in pain for so long. One session with Tina, no pain. And all the pain turned out to be the guilt about a termination this person had who felt so bad. And Shani here has been working with a darts player in Wales and has taken him from nowhere to being incredibly successful. And Jenny has done phenomenal work. And all of my graduates get these letters every day, and they send them to me.
If you're interested in speaking, exhibiting, or getting involved in the largest personal development expos in the world, contact us today at www.thebestyouexpo.com or send us an email to info@thebestyou.co.
Here's some questions about can you do it. People always say, well, surely you have to be an existing therapist. Half the people we train are therapists, and some of them find it very hard to stop saying, how do you feel? And how does that make you feel? If they knew how they felt, they wouldn't be in your office. It doesn't matter how they feel. It matters that you fix them. There's only one place in the world where people turn up and say, can I talk about my pain? Without any hope of getting better. Or maybe after 5 years I might get better. Nobody says to the dentist, I've got an impacted wisdom tooth. Can I come in and discuss the pain for 5 years ago? Are you mad? That's going to travel all around your body. We've got to get out the infection. No one goes to a doctor and says, I think I've broken my arm. Can I turn up and discuss the pain? They go, no, we need to set it. And all therapists have good hearts. They want to help people. It's the best job in the world. But the world has changed. People do not want to go and talk about their pain for 5 years. I just had to take on a therapist who was taking my photo and saying, this woman scares me because she says rapid and therapy. They shouldn't be in the same sentence. Therapy is not rapid. It is a world of pain that you try to crawl out of every day with no promise of help. I'm like, I'm glad I'm not your client. That's not true. We live in a fast world. We want fast results. So if you want to train in RTT, you need no background in therapy whatsoever. We have trained beauticians, massage therapists, pilots, city workers, secretaries. We even trained 2 cleaners. And actually they have done so well because they're so used to people telling them all their problems. We've trained hairdressers. And out of all my grads that I take around the world, and only one of them was an existing therapist. One was a PR, one was a beauty therapist. So if you want to do it, you need nothing except a calling to help people. That's all you need. We teach you everything. We also teach you the most phenomenal marketing because so many people go on a course and learn a trade. They don't know how to market it. We teach you everything. Is Roz here today? Anyway, and we have Cindy here who's written a book. One of the girls I trained with me, she's got her own newspaper column, her own radio show. So many of our grads have written books. So if you want to do the course, then we have different ways you can do it. You can do it completely online. We have people all over the world who are doing amazing things. I've never met them, and yet they just did the online training because it's so thorough. You know, I was voted best therapist in Britain. And people have been asking me for 20 years, teach your method, teach your life. And I can't, it's so time-consuming. Until my husband said, look, just turn up. I'll do everything. Just turn up. So I turned up and did one course just over 3 years ago. It was amazing. People came in from South Africa and Australia and New Zealand. And then it was so successful, we did our online course. If you want to train in RTT, if you want to do what I do, and I don't blame you if you want to do what I do, because it's amazing. You work your own hours. You're your own boss. If you're I was a single parent. I loved being a therapist because I was always there. Every school pickup, every school drop-off when my daughter was sick. I could do what I wanted. It's actually, you make a great living. Most of our therapists charge £250 per session. And it's value for money. If you're going to spend £10,000 on IVF, if you're going to have your stomach stapled, your jaw wired, if you've been going to Weight Watchers for 15 years, they actually banned me from Weight Watchers boards. I didn't go on it. People kept saying, oh my God, have you seen that Marisa Peer? I read her book, I lost 100 pounds. I went to a therapist and they fixed me. And Weight Watchers said, we can't have any more posts about this girl because we don't like that model. We like the model where you come along, get weighed, lose a pound, gain a pound, buy all these crazy Weight Watchers gummy bears and fudge bars and complete crap, really. And we don't like fixing, but the head of Weight Watchers told me to my face, we don't want people to lose weight. We want them to lose a bit of weight because we're owned by Heinz, and then lose a bit more. We like the revolving door. So people are happy to pay for freedom. And if you ask me, what do you give your clients? I'm going to tell you I give them two things: empowerment and freedom. You know, I've worked with a lot of children with Asperger's and autism, and I never say I'm going to make you better, but I give them phenomenal coping skills. It no longer bothers them. So you can learn RTT online, and if you take the online package, and I believe we're giving you highly discounted prices today. That's true, isn't it? Today, if you come to our stand F20, we are giving you discounted prices. You don't have to pay up front. You pay a small deposit and you will get the discounted price. We have payment plans, is that right? But when you learn RTT online, you have a mentor. It's not like, okay, there's a computer, you're on your own. You have a mentor, you have practice groups, and we give you a absolutely guaranteed refund. If you don't like it, we give you all your money back. You know, in 3.5 years, we've refunded one person. And that was a person I actually asked to leave my class because he was so unwilling to see that this poor girl on stage who'd had a horrible life needed more than just to talk about it. So we haven't had anyone that said, I don't like it. So you get a guaranteed refund. You get a special price today if you go to stand F20. And if you do the online course, you learn how to market it. We now have people doing this all over the world. And we have people doing it in schools. We've got some amazing people, some school teachers that came and trained with us, and they now have both private and state schools paying them to work with their clients. We have people working in IVF clinics, working in hospitals, working in the city, going into companies and helping. So you can do the whole thing online, should you want to. You can also do a 12-day live course. You turn up, I teach almost all of it, it's 12 days. You start at the beginning and you leave, and you leave with a certificate. We belong to so many organizations. You are recognized by all the governing bodies in this country and all over the world. You get insurance. It's not some kind of weird thing where you're just on your own. This is a recognized therapy worldwide. It's in schools. We're now talking in Denver and LA about putting it into the prison system because they've seen the way it turns around people. We have so many rehabs saying we now want to take your students. And last month, New Zealand, a country, said we now want to put this on the NHS across New Zealand. We want 500 therapists. We're going to put this in hospitals. And after New Zealand, it's going to happen this year, we're going to take it to Scandinavia and all progressive countries who are putting RTT on the map. It's becoming the go-to therapy because it works. It's extraordinary. I've had suicidal people in my chair who within 2 hours go, gosh, I thought I was depressed, but I realized I actually suppressed and repressed and I had no voice. And when you gave me a voice, I'm not depressed. I feel great. We've had people right at the edge of feeling so bad about themselves. Within a year are married and happy. So you can do this online. The online course is amazing. I wouldn't put my name to anything if I wasn't immensely proud of it. It was 33 years in the making. But you can also do it live. I mean, of course, live is amazing, but now we have a third way, because in America, where we teach this a lot, they only have 2 weeks holiday a year, so 12 days is kind of hard for them. So now we've created a combination where you do 2/3 of the online course and a 5-day live course. And with everyone, whether it's online, 12-day live or 5-day live combined with online, you get certificate. You are a certified rapid transformational therapist. You're also a certified hypnotherapist. And it is hypnotherapy, but I call it skipnotherapy because we skip all that. Let's float along on a cloud and color your headache in pink and look at bunny rabbits. We don't do any of that. And I also call it beyond hypnosis because this is based on science. This is not woo-woo. RTT is a science. It's based on how to dialogue with the mind. So the mind dialogues with the body and lets in good signals and interrupts negative ones because your body is run by a network of intelligence. And what influences it is your thinking. What you think becomes absolutely real. Let me show you how powerful your mind is. So just everybody stand up. Put your hands by your side. And just close your eyes. Just close your eyes and keep your eyes closed. All I want you to do, because your imagination is so powerful, you know, I'm telling you that I fix all these people, but really they fix themselves and I show them how to do it. So with your eyes closed, I want you to imagine right in front of your chin is the most powerful magnet in the world, a huge red magnet. And the filing is in your chin and the magnet's in front of your chin and it's pulling you forwards, 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 forwards. You can feel that magnet pulling you forwards. Your head is moving forwards. Your shoulders are moving forwards. You really want to hinge forwards from the waist. You are locking your knees and you desperately want to come onto your tiptoes as that magnet pulls you forwards, 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 forwards. And now that magnet has gone right to the back of your head. And you are being pulled backwards by a magnetic force. Your head is pulling backwards, backwards, backwards. Your shoulders are pulling backwards, backwards, backwards. You are leaning back, tilting back. You really need to lock your knees. Your toes desperately want to come into the air as that magnet pulls you backwards. And just open your eyes. And let's do what we did yesterday for those who weren't in the room. Just take your left arm, point it towards me. And all I want you to do, be aware of the person next to you's eye. Don't poke them in the head. All you're going to do is that, but you're probably going to have to go over someone's head. So behind you, I want you to just push your arm as far behind you as it will go. And I want you to simply notice where your arm is. That's all you have to do. Bring it back. Drop your arm down. Close your eyes. And I want you to tell your mind that when you repeat this exercise, it will make your arm go a third further. I want you to imagine all the muscles in your left arm are like Play-Doh. They're like plasticine, they're like cooked spaghetti. You're like a gymnast. You have a super flexible left arm. You're like Barbie or Ken. You're like a rubber doll. Put your left arm up in front of you. Look at your left arm. And I want you to say to your left arm, you are about to go a third further. You are super flexible. You're going to go a third further. Tell it to go a third further. Because your body does whatever you tell it. Swing it behind you and watch as it goes a whole third further. And now take a seat. And now you know what happens when you say, if I look at a cake, I get fat. You know that's actually scientifically true. If you say, if I look at a cake, I gain a pound, that the stress of that belief makes cortisol, which encourages you to gain weight. And if you say, whatever I eat, I never gain weight, it just goes straight through me, that happens too. So we have had incredible success stories. I was in Los Angeles in August, where I live half the time. And I was just doing an I'm Enough day, and I did the Healing Vortex. The Healing Vortex is extraordinary. It's a vortex of energy that goes through your body and rebalances everything, removes old beliefs, fixes stuff, can work on physical healing. And we had an amazing day. So my grads ran around. Everyone wrote a piece of paper what they wanted. We had a whole chart up there. We were covering everything from eyesight to hearing to losing hair to sore throats. And so as we were going through, we were doing a whole healing vortex on pretty much every organ in the body. And this girl in the front in a wheelchair wrote to me and said, I don't know what you did, but I've been in so much pain. And all the pain ended. Great. Should I want a session with you? I said, well, luckily for you, I'm back in LA in November doing my course. Why don't you come and I'll do a session in front of the whole class? So she turned up and she kept saying, this is the worst fracture in the whole of LA, the worst fracture in LA. And I knew immediately, because we teach you something called ears prick up moment, that she had some investment in being in this wheelchair. So I found out what it was. Turned out she'd been abused, didn't get much attention, always wanted everyone to look at her. An hour later, she got out of that wheelchair, she walked outside where it was on the beach in Malibu, and she stood in a fountain. And it was amazing. And then she was emailing me every day, oh my God, I'm exercising, because she talked in the therapy about how she couldn't do the physio because the pain was so bad. I went, no, you are a rock star. Athletes don't go, oh, I can't run, my stomach muscles hurt, I can't exercise, my butt hurts. They go, I'm an athlete, and I've got an athlete's mentality. So I coded into her this belief that she was an athlete. And she said, well, it's the most amazing thing. I'm doing all the exercises, there's no pain. And then she sent me a little video of how Mum came to visit her for Thanksgiving, and Mum didn't know. She got out of the wheelchair, walked, and the Mum was crying. And when you train with me in RTT, every month you get 2 live masterclasses, one with me and one is a marketing one. And the live masterclasses will pick a subject: anorexia, bulimia, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder. And so I decided to do a session with her. I sent all my graduates who hadn't been in the room the video, they all watched it, and then she came on and we all asked her questions. She said, well, what was the best thing was that there's never been a minute's pain since it, because my doctor is amazed. No doctor, no physio, no drug could get me out of that wheelchair, but you did. And she was describing how being free of pain just changed her entire life, and actually the life of her little dog. A little dog who had no life either. He loved that session. He was running up and down between the audience going, oh, this is great, I'm actually out of the house. And if you want to see RTT in action, go to YouTube and just put in Marisa Peer and Angie. When I was in London, a girl in my class said, I have cerebral palsy, and I think you could help me. I'm like, come up. She came up, and out of a pure fluke, although there's no such thing as flukes, we happened to have a doctor, because we teach this method to so many doctors, who was a neurosurgeon. He went, can I do all the tests? Well, I'm not sure. So he came up, and he was testing this girl, and then we did pure RTT, commanding the left side of her brain to catch up with the right. The right was perfect, left was smaller. Commanding it to fire off these neurons, to make them like Christmas tree lights, to get the right side of her brain to use the left as a model. It's something I call command cell therapy. You command the body to match. So the right side of her brain was smaller and the left side of her body, and she had an arm that she couldn't use. And after we finished with the brain, she kept saying, my ears are so hot, I don't know what you're doing, but it's really working. We actually commanded the left side of her body to catch up with the right. And in front of everyone's eyes, her hand opened up, her foot turned out. It was really extraordinary and rather beautiful. And she's got her own feed now, and she said, I'm opening fire doors. She sent me an email at Christmas. She said, I'm drinking champagne with 2 hands, never done that before, holding hot drinks. And she used to call this hand her useless arm. But what was even more extraordinary, one of my grads went home and showed the video to her son and said, I did the same thing. It was a bit clumsy. And my son's hand opened out, and it stayed opened out ever since. And then the woman in New Zealand who is putting on the national health said, my nephew is strapped into a wheelchair and he wears oven gloves because he's got no movement, so he gouges himself. And I said, you can help him. So she went and she did pure command therapy, and he remembered being a baby when the doctor said he will scratch himself to death if he doesn't wear those mitts. And she said, but you're not a baby. You can control your hands, so no gloves, no strapping into the chair. And while he'll probably always have cerebral palsy, he may not. She's doing amazing work. He's now using a laptop. You can imagine being 17, strapped into a chair, going from that to being able to go on the computer, talk to people, even to use the remote control of the television. That has changed his entire life. I trained her in December. She did it, went back and did the same thing in December. So this is going on the national health right across, because she's very big in government. But that was an extraordinary thing, that we could give someone in a wheelchair, get them to stand up. We could give someone with cerebral palsy better movement. We could give someone who's shaking or has tremors or has a phobia of cats or dogs or bees. We can fix them. Because no baby is born with a phobia. No baby says, oh, I'm scared of bees, I'm scared of cats, don't look at me. We're not born with these fears. The first thing that happens when you're born is people look at you. They count your fingers and toes. They tickle your little tummy. And no baby says, don't look at me. I'm really bad with confrontation, or I'm very shy. They just smile, their big gummy smile, and go, oh, you love me? Because I'm lovable. So that's very good news. It means that all of our issues are acquired. They're all acquired. And if you acquire them, you can be free of them. But one of the best things about RTT is it is replicable.
Having promoted more than 600 speakers and more than 65,000 people attend my seminars and courses and workshops and expos, having read so many books and attended so many courses, I really realized that the basics of personal, professional growth is based on the power of the question. Asking yourself empowering questions. Read my new book, The Question, Find Your True Purpose. It's based on my work, 30 years of entrepreneurship, all the experiences that I have, my manifesto, and what's really important. So for more information, go to www.thequestion.co.
I decided if I'm going to teach it, I want you to get the results I get. There's nothing worse for me than saying, I've taught my method, but it's not very good. Look at writing it. Well, I saw someone and they weren't you. I actually know that many of my grads were better than me. I mean, I've been doing it for 33 years. They're on fire. They're like, oh my God, somebody's coming in with hypochondria or anorexia. I'm so excited. Someone's coming in with endometriosis, and I'm so excited. I'm like, oh, good. I mean, I've been doing that for 33 years. I'm sort of excited, but not like they are. And many of my graduates do amazing things. A girl I've never met, a grad, said, you know what? This girl came in for anorexia, and I got out the online course, because you all get it. And on the online course, you have a library of everything you can imagine. And I found the video of anorexia, and I watched it all the way through. And we give you what I call 9 flashcards. We have something called a formula for success. And you have 9 cards like this. And the first one says, set your client up for success. The second one shows you how to take them back to uncover what's going on. The third one says, now you are going to discover the meaning, because events don't affect you, but the meaning you attach does. And when you change the meaning of an event with your client, change their entire life. So the next one says, change the meaning. The next one says, interruptions. We have things called It's Not Me, dialogue with a hurter, install a cheerleader, praise you've always wanted. And the final one is the transformational recording. And so if you're working on a laptop, you'll just be able to always know where you're going, which is a great thing. So she said, so I followed, I looked at the video, I had my 9 flashcards, I had them on my iPad. Client comes in, they've got their eyes closed. They have no idea that you might have an iPad or some notes. And I took her back, I said, where are you? And she said, oh, I've just opened the door to my dad's office. I'm daddy's princess. He loves me. In fact, he worships me. And he's looking at porn. And he's touching himself and he's looking at porn. What do you think? She said, I think I never want to look like that. If I look like that, he might look at me like that. And I never want to develop. Isn't that interesting? An anorexic woman who's had it for 15 years could go back to being 11 and realize what she said to her mind. I never want to look like that. Remember what I told you about the mind? It does what it thinks you want it to do. It bases it on what you tell it, and it often gets it wrong. And so she said to her mind, I never want to look like that. I never want to develop. I want to stay a little girl. And she became anorexic. The mind went, how cool am I? You don't want to develop? I'll give you anorexia. Now you'll never develop. And it really is as simple as that. And we have phenomenal successes. We were going back to scenes. I worked with this stunning French girl. I mean, she was so beautiful. It was hard to imagine. She never had a boyfriend. And she went back to her dad, would every day say, I love you so much, and you'll never find anyone in your entire life who loves you like I do. Never, ever, ever could anyone love you like me. And he used to tell her every day, nobody will ever love you like Daddy. Nobody will ever love you like Papa. You'll never find someone who loves you like me. And guess what she never found? Never found a guy to love her, because that's what he told her every day. And sometimes we tell our kids crazy stuff that we don't mean, but the mind just lets it in. So we have people who come in when they're not allowed to leave food, or the mother makes food and they believe, I have to please my mum by eating everything. We have extraordinary successes of people who say to their kids, well, you're just like me. We had a girl, she was having 41 injections in her head every month because she had such bad migraines, vascular migraines, she would actually pass out. And when I asked her in hypnosis why, she said, well, my dad says to me every day, you know, we've got a family law firm and you're expected to take it over. I've spent all this money on your education. And she said, I could never open my mouth and go, I don't want to be a barrister, I want to be a DJ. But when she got the migraines, he stopped saying, why can't you understand? The family depends on you, it's your duty, it's your job. He began to go, my poor daughter, you know, she gets these terrible migraines. She could never be a barrister. She's lucky if she can work in Starbucks. Poor thing. The mind went, oh, done a great job there, got you out of it. So that's what the mind does. And our job is to go back and find out. And I had a girl who came up with scoliosis, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't really want to do scoliosis. I mean, who wants to do scoliosis? I was thinking I might have a headache or asthma or eczema. But she went back to being a little girl who every time she wasn't perfect, her father would lock her in a cellar, drag her into a cellar, and she would think a thought, I must find a way of getting out of this cellar. How can I stop my dad locking me in this cellar? I cannot go into this cellar anymore. Suddenly she's in a full body cast. She never got put in that cellar again. And what was even more lovely is I worked with a little kid of 5 who also had terrible migraines. And when I said to him, darling, I know this sounds a bit weird, because we do something called role, function, purpose. We have so many phenomenal tools for you should you want to learn with us. And one of them is taking a client back and having them say, I am the role of the depression, I'm the role of the sciatica, I'm the role of the dermatitis, and now I can speak, I can tell you why I'm here. But I work with a lot of teeny little kids, 4-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 18-year-olds, who go, whatever, but they all get it. And I said to him, you know, darling, if the headaches were your friend, why would they be here without skipping a beat? He said, well, Mummy and Daddy fight a lot. And when they fight and I get a headache, they stop fighting. They turn all the lights off and we sit in quiet until the headache goes away. What do you think he'd said to his mind? I need to stop Mummy and Daddy fighting. I had another one, this cutest little boy, covered in eczema, itching and bleeding, and Mum was stressed out, always putting on the cream. Dad didn't understand. And I said to him, darling, I'm going to ask you a question. If the eczema was your friend, and without, I hadn't even said, he said, well, I have to stand like that every night, and Mummy puts on cream and wet bandages, and she doesn't put any cream on that baby. Isn't that interesting? What he'd said to himself as Mummy's massaging the new babies, I want Mummy to put cream on me. I want Mummy to do that. And when I said, Mummy, can I do it? You're a big boy. Big boys don't need cream. It's the baby's turn. And so he created something where he got that cream all over his body every day. And when he understood it, it all went away. And it's extraordinary that tiny, tiny children get it. And the 18-year-old went, whatever. When he came in, he was such an angry kid, but a desperately unhappy kid. Angry people are always hurt. If you want to treat someone who's angry, understand behind the anger is intense hurt. And I asked him what hurt him, and he told me. His parents gave him away to his grandparents. They were too old to raise him. They had a new kid. Both they divorced, and both had other kids. They treated like Jesus. And no one loved him. He never had a birthday. They abandoned him. And I told him the truth. You know what, darling? It's really not right that you haven't had love. But you know what? You have to become... Imagine if you had a great dad, what would he say? Imagine if you had a great mom. And he told me, so I put him in hypnosis, and he said it. I'm a great kid. I'm an awesome kid. I have something to offer the world. I am loved. I'm lovable. I'm enough. And he probably thought this is a crock of, but he did it. And actually later, his auntie, who'd actually paid for the session, said, he's a rising chef in Manchester. He's had so much press. He's engaged. He's not angry. He's not depressed. He's really happy. That one session changed his life. And working with troubled kids is really, really amazing. So I think I'm being told I have to wrap this up. You probably know I could go on and on about this for ages because it's the best thing in the world. It changes people's lives. If you want to know more, find Jenny, find Tina, find Shani, find Cindy. We've got, I think, more than 3,000 therapists all over the world. Next week, we're doing our RTT conference. We do it every year, an RTT conference. It's mostly for our graduates. They come in from all over the world. I teach brand new material. We have different workshops. I think we usually have 50 places for the public. If you want to come along next week, next Saturday in central London, come to Stand F20 and find out about it. But I wish I could tell you what it feels like to heal someone, to change someone's life, to have someone say, I was in pain, I'm not in pain. I didn't have a voice, I have a voice. I always had a dream of writing a book, but I felt inadequate. The book's written. I've gone back to my mother. One of my clients said, my mother-in-law hated me. But I learned RTT, and one day I was talking about it, and she said, can you help me? I've been bulimic my entire life, and I've never even told my husband or son. Should I fixed her? Now she loves me more than her son. She always says, oh my God, how am I lucky that I found you? Because she was hurt. Most of the people you see are hurt. So you can learn RTT online. I've already told you that. You can learn it online. It's 350 hours. It's a very thorough course, but you get new material every month, new case histories. They're always amazing. We had a guy who wore glasses. He came up. I started talking to him and went, I can't see my mum. Oh, I can't ever see that woman. I can't see her. And we did a session, and he took his glasses off and read the paper. And then he was going, look out there, I can see. We couldn't even see what he could see. His name is Mark Caradonis, and now he has a clinic specializing just in RTT for vision. So you get the training with me online, live, combination of both, but you get a masterclass every month. We have people like Dr. Mark Hyman, who wrote The Broken Brain, What the Fuck Can I Eat? That's his book, by the way, saying, can I come on and take a masterclass? I'm like, you're Mark Hyman? Of course you can. People queue up now. Specialists, I would love to give a masterclass for you, but mostly I do it every month, and you get a live Q&A with me. We pick special subjects, but you also get a marketing masterclass every month with marketing geniuses from all over the world who also say, I'd like to speak to your trainees. I'd like to talk to your grads. I love RTT. I want to be involved. So you have a marketing masterclass monthly where you learn more and more marketing skills. You get a whole product we made called Build a Busy Practice. Our job is to make you busy and booked and happy and successful and well off too. And we do a pretty good job because our graduates love it. I mean, even Shani wrote to me and said, you changed my life. If I hadn't met you, my life would be good. Also very boring. It's not boring anymore. So it's a wonderful life being in RTT. It's wonderful for you. But the best gift is the fact that people write you and go, you've changed my life. You've given me my life back. Somebody wrote to me the other day and said, this is a picture of my mum having her nails done. That may sound crazy, but my mum was reclusive for 11 years. She could not get out of the house. I trained with you. I went home. She was my first client. I was very clumsy. I couldn't remember half it. And my mum's like, you're not a therapist. What are you even doing? But the next day we went out and got our nails done, and no doctor, no psychiatrist, she'd had everything, CBT, EFT, NLP, not to disparage that, but she had had everything. She'd had counseling, she'd had medical intervention, nothing worked. Within 12 hours of that session, we went out and had our nails done. I've given her back her life. It was worth all the investment because I changed my mum. And if you can work with your parents, you can work with anyone. And we have Bertie here. Bertie was a personal trainer I met. She came and trained with me no therapy background, and she now has an extraordinary life as a therapist. She's given up personal training. And someone said to her, Bertie, I thought you were a trainer, you're not a psychiatrist. No, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm an RTT therapist. And we have many psychiatrists. When I was in LA, we had a psychiatrist who came to learn. He said, when I leave here, I'm going back to the hospital. If they won't let me do this, I'm going to another hospital because this is amazing. And then he wrote to me and said, I had a multiple personality, and I was the only doctor in the whole hospital who could work with this multiple personality because I took the 9 steps, the formula, the replicable formula that you can replicate, and I used it. And I put this person back together again. We were always told, get rid of all the characters. But I just said, no, let's merge you into one happy person. And it worked. It's a formula you can replicate. I promise you, in fact, I guarantee you can get the results I get. We've seen that for the last 3 years. Talk to Jenny, talk to all these girls who work for me, Tina and Cindy, they'll tell you. In fact, last night, Cindy, a friend of mine came over, Paula, who said, Tina, a friend of mine came over and she said, I must write to Tina. That one session changed my whole life. You remember Paula? Anyway, you did something extraordinary with her, and she wanted me to tell you. And I hear that every day. People write and go, oh my God, I just found someone in Estonia that changed my life. So I have to stop now, come to stand F20, and find out that you can do this. It's replicable, it's a formula for success, it works, it's a job where you are free, well paid, and you make a difference. If you want to change the world, change people. That's how you change the world. Change people, and then you can change the world. Thanks for listening. Thank you.
For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co.